Racism is a negative difference in how people with diverse ethnic origin are treated. An example is how the white Europeans felt superior to black and Asian people. It was a big part of South Africa's history. Apartheid is also a big part of racism.
We know South Africa's dark past is marked by racial suppression and segregation, which leads us to the next topic, apartheid. Apartheid means when the native Africans and the Europeans weren't allowed to use the same public service, didn't have the same rights and privileges.
When the White Parliament was settled, many laws were made to trouble the life of blacks. Blacks were not allowed to go on a strike. They were not allowed to apply for many skilled jobs. They had to carry identity papers at all times and were not allowed to travel freely. Black people were only given 7.5% of the land to live on as well.
Their condition got worse and worse, so in 1912 they formed the South African Native National Congress to help fight their rights.
In 1910, the Boer republics and the British areas, which were the areas that formed Africa, were joined together in the Union of South Africa. When the parliament were to be elected, only whites could be elected and black people had no right to vote.
In 1948, the National Party won an election. They introduced the country to apartheid. The idea was to keep every race pure and not mix them up. The party wanted South Africa to be a white country, so they divided the races into tribes.
In 1960, a massive demonstration in Sharpeville ended in violence, when the black burned their identity papers to express their frustrations. The white police got provoked and killed 96 people and wounded another 160.
When the rest of the world heard about it and got upset, the South African government banned the African Native Congress and another popular natives organization. The incident is now called the Sharpeville Massacre.
Many other demonstrations took place. Among others, the one in 1976 was big enough to reach international news. 20,000 students demonstrated for the blacks' rights and 2 got shot.
South Africa got such a bad reputation that the rest of the world tried to start a boycott, meaning to cut off all business strings attached to South Africa, and their economy gradually got weaker.
In 1989, the president stepped down and was replaced by F.W. de Klerk. Finally, someone realized that there was no future to apartheid and started to change the system.
All organizations for Native Africans were again legalized, and by 1991 almost every racial difference law was abolished.
27th of April 1994, the first free election was held. For the first time ever were all racial groups equal.
One of the people who fought a great war against apartheid was Nelson Mandela. Nelson Mandela was one of the most important men in the South African history and the world's.
His real name is Rolihlahla Mandela, which means Troublemaker Mandela, but he got the name Nelson from his first teacher at school.
He was born the 18th of July 1918 in the village of Mwetso in Umtata, South Africa.
His father, Fakanistwa, was chief in the Tembo tribe, and his mother, Nosekeni Fanny, looked after Nelson and his sisters. He was the only boy of the 4 children in the family.
When he turned 18, his parents wanted him to marry a girl he didn't want to, so he ran away to Johannesburg.
In Johannesburg, he soon founded the organization ANC, which stands for the African National Conference, and quickly became one of the leaders in the organization. Everybody liked him, also some of the whites who hated apartheid.
He wished to demonstrate against apartheid, but when he did, the police started killing innocent people. In 1961, Mandela started fighting apartheid, so the government put out an arrest warrant for him.
Mandela hid from the police, but in 1962 the police caught him and sent him to prison on Robben Island. Mandela was in prison for 27 years, but the people still said that he was their leader. They wanted Mandela out, even in Europe and the States. People demonstrated.
Finally, in 1991, the apartheid government gave up. Nobody supported them anymore, so they set Mandela free.
Shortly after his release, he became the president of ANC. 2 years later, he won the Nobel Peace Prize because of his fighting against apartheid. In 1994, he was elected as South Africa's first black president. He was president in a total of 5 years and then retired. After his presidential office, he traveled the world as an international peacemaker. Nelson Mandela died the 5th of December 2013 at the age of 95, and the whole world grieved. That day, the world lost one of the greatest men in the history. Rest in peace, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela.